Good morning, Kahal Kadosh. We are in the Parasha of Lech Lecha, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu introduces us to one of the most incredible figures and role models in the entire world, in history of Klal Yisrael especially, but even in the world, Avraham Avinu, who should be somebody we should all look up to as a role model. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, in Tana de Eliyahu, it says, Chayav Adam lomar, Matai yagiu ma'asai le'maasei avotai. When will my actions reach those of my forefathers, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? So we all have to look to emulate and copy and paste literally the lifestyle of Avraham Avinu, Yitzhak Avinu, and Yaakov, and do the same. And when we go in those ways, we not only do we receive endless beracha, and do we connect ourselves to the change and the link, we link ourselves to a chain of literally thousands upon thousands of years of kedusha, of purity, of holiness. But more than anything, you become a human being. You become someone who has a life of meaning. There's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, a powerful Mishnah, that we all have to ask ourselves one question. When I come after 120 to Olam Haba, and I stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem is going to ask you, who is your Rebbe? Where did you learn from? And of course, there's many answers, but there's really two, based on this Mishnah, there's two answers you could potentially give. It's either your Rebbe is going to be Bilam HaRasha, or your Rebbe could be Avraham Avinu. And I hope that our answer will be Avraham Avinu. The Mishnah says, Kol mi sheyesh bo shelosha dvarim halalu. A person who has one of these three things, hu mitalmidav shel Avraham Avinu. He is a student of Avraham Avinu. They will look at you and say, Hazaku Baruch, your Rebbe is Avraham Avinu. What a beautiful rabbi. And I'm guessing he'll come and he'll be me'orer sanegor. He'll try to fight for you. He will benefit you and only say good things about you in Shamayim. And ushlosha dvarim acherim, but if you have three opposite things, mitamidav shel Bilam HaRasha. God forbid, he's a student of Bilam. Says the Mishnah, Tamidav shel Avraham Avinu, Ain tova veruach nemucha venefesh shefala. Ain tova means he has a good eye. He sees things with positive energy. He always sees the things optimistically, the good in everything. Both in what Hashem gives him and also in his friends and the people surrounding him. He gives them the benefit of the doubt. He sees them with a positive energy. Veruach nemucha, someone who has a low spirit, meaning that he doesn't have cockiness and arrogance, or he's not always searching for ta'avot. That's the proper explanation. V'nefesh shafela means he's humble and he has humility. So the second one is referring to not being a ta'avtan, someone who is always looking for physical temptations and pleasures. And the third is being humble and having humility. But I would like to today, for a few minutes, discuss the first of the three characteristics, and that is Ain Tova. And we could see in many different areas, and one of the ones that really sticks out is many in this week's Parasha. Avraham Avinu is approached by his wife, Sarah Imenu, and she tells him to kick Ishmael out of his house. And our sages teach us that Ishmael was asked to leave, and Avraham Avinu was very bothered. The Psukim say that he was very bothered by this request. What do you mean? You want me to kick my son out of the house? And then he literally had to have a prophecy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and telling him, Kol asher tomar lecha Sarah, shema bekola. Whatever Sarah Imenu tells you, listen to her. So many wives like to use this to their husbands and say, listen, you see, Hashem told you to listen to your wife. And obviously our answer back to our wives will be, look, you're not Sarah Imenu. I'm just kidding. Don't say that to your wife. But don't try that. Right? Don't say that to your wife. But Hashem says here to Avraham Avinu, you have to listen to Sarah Imenu. And okay, you have to listen. And he did it. He did it wholeheartedly. It was difficult. He was brokenhearted when he did it. But he did what Hashem asked of him to do. And he kicked Ishmael out of his house. So, what was he doing? Why did he get kicked out of the house? He was metzahek, he was laughing. So we would think metzahek means he's laughing, he's having a good time. He's watching a few videos, playing around, doing something, whatever it is. Playing tic-tac-toe. I don't know what kids do to have fun. playing Sting, Go-Go, whatever, Lego, something to have fun. That's mesahek. But Rashi HaKadosh and our sages teach us that that's not what he was doing. He was oved avodah zarah that day. He was shofech damim. He was a murderer. He killed people. And gilu ayot. He committed promiscuous acts. Terrible averot. So the question becomes, wait a second, Avraham Avinu, if that is why she wanted to kick him out of the house,
are you upset?
So how are you upset and how did you not want to kick him out? So the answer that our sages teach us, and it's brought in many different places. One, it's really brought out beautifully in Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, that says that even though Avraham Avinu kicked Ishmael out of his house, Avraham Avinu would go daily to go check up on Ishmael. And that means that even though he was kicked out, he didn't get rid of him and disconnect from him. That day, the Torah says, Lu Ishmael ichle lefanecha. When he kicked him out, Avraham Avinu said, the pasuk says, Lu Ishmael alvai. I hope that he should live, he should not die. But Rashi says, Lu ichle Ishmael lefanecha alvai ichle bi'iratecha. I wish and I pray that he should live before you with yirat shamayim. Avraham Avinu didn't have a day go by that he didn't pray for his son Ishmael to be yirei shamayim, to be a God-fearing Jew, to be someone who's connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he prayed wholeheartedly. And every day he would go check up on him. So even though he might have committed a lot of sins and a lot of difficult things, Avraham Avinu still loved him. So much so that at the time of Akedat Yitzchak, when in next week's Parasha, in Parashat Vayera, at the very end, the 7th Aliyah, the Torah teaches us, Hashem tells Avraham Avinu, Kach et bincha et yechidecha asher ahavta. Why are all these words redundant? What's this play on words? Kach et bincha, your son, yechidecha, your only one. Asher ahavta. Why does the Torah have to say all this? So when he told him, Kach et bincha, take your son, he said, which one? I have two, Ishmael and Yitzhak. So he shouldn't have asked questions, he should have just taken Ishmael. But he asked the question, what could we do? He said, Et bincha, your son. Which one? He says, I have two. Yechidecha, your only one. So he said, what do you mean my only one? I have, this one is only one to his mother Hagar, and this one is only one to his mother Sarah. So what do you mean? Et bincha, yechidecha, asher ahavta, the one that you love. So it's a no-brainer, right? Who is he talking about? Yitzhak, but then he had to say another word. He said, Et zeh ani ohev, et zeh ani ohev. I love him and I love him. Look at Avraham Avinu's love for Ishmael. He loved him also. And then when he finally said at Yitzhak, he said, okay, fine. Now, the hilak, no playing games. I know who it is. It's Yitzhak. I have to take him. Very good. But look how much Avraham Avinu loved his son. He had a positive eye. He had ayn tovah. He wasn't able to see the negative. He wasn't capable to see the bad things in a person, let alone his son. All right, you might tell me, okay, it's only his son. But I'll prove it to you from a different episode. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to destroy Sodom and Amorah, you know what Sodom and Amorah, you know what they did there? They would literally rip heads. They would beheaded people. And what do? They rip people. The Gemara says that they would do achnasat ochim. You know what kind of achnasat ochim they would do? They would only do achnasat ochim. They had two types of beds, extra large or extra small. And when a tall guest would come into the home, what would they do? They put him in a small bed. Said, Habibi, we don't want your feet to be cold. Let me help you out. They cut his feet off because the blanket doesn't fit and his feet go up. That's what they do in Sodom and Amorah. And when the person's too tall, what would they do? They put him in the small. Sorry, when the person was too small, they put him in the huge bed. So, misken, there's so much bed. There's too much room in the bed. We have to stretch him out a little bit. They take two jumbo guys. One holds his hands, one his feet, and they literally stretch him into two. That's what they did in Sodom and Amorah, aka Hamas. That's what they did there. Look at these Rashayim Harurim. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I'm going to go destroy this city, what are you going to say? Hazak Baruch, wipe them out, destroy them. You know what Avraham Avinu did? Avraham Avinu said, Ribono shel olam, please, if there's 50 tzaddikim, have mercy. Hashem says, fine. If there's 50, I'll do it. I'll go do it. And he says, there's not 50. I looked, there's not 50. Yeah, fine, 45. He said, 45, I'll do it. There's not 45. He said, 40, 30, 20, 10. He said, I'm sorry, there's not even 10 tzaddikim. They don't have a minyan of tzaddikim, so he said, okay, plan B, wipe out Sodom and he destroyed the entire city. He brought down Ezra, Gofrid, and he wiped out the entire city. But what happened? Avraham Avinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chalil alach, Adon kol haaretz, the master of the universe, God forbid, it's mundane for you to do such an action, to wipe out a whole city. Don't do that. Avraham Avinu couldn't see anything negative. He had Ayin Tovah. So we don't have to start looking for the good in the terrorists. I'm not saying we should be doing that. We already know in Hamas, they don't have even 10 tzaddikim. No problem. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look at Avraham Avinu. Look at what he was able to do where he was. He said he couldn't find anything negative in them. So let's start in the people in the Beit HaKnesset and the people in around us, in our little circle, to look. Sometimes a person walks in late, what happened? You say, look at this guy, he's sleeping, he's taking his time.
Hashem is there.
Say, Baruch Hashem, the guy came to pray. Why are you looking at the negative in a person? Avraham Avinu teaches us Ayin Tovah. If we want to come after 120 and stand in Bet Din Shemala and say, who's your Rebbe, Bilam HaRasha or Avraham Avinu? We hope to answer positively, Avraham Avinu is our rabbi, so we should learn from him and emulate his ways and have Ayin Tovah B'ezat Hashem.